Hello, audience, who is very scared of the front row, except for
That's why they're scared.
plenty of premium seating right up here. Maybe that's where we're hiding the car keys with a free car. Too late for you. Next time you know. All right, I am Jay. I am with Comedy Sports. Kristen and I are your house staff here tonight, willing to take your money in cash or a card, and if you want, in exchange for concessions items. Otherwise, we'll just take your money. A little bit about the arena. We have restrooms down the hallway or right there. We have recycling and garbage cans right over that way when you're done with your concessions items and ready to get more back there. In case of a water landing, exits right, the door you came through, or if it's a real emergency, you can go through here. Your seat cushions are not a flotation device. Please do not peel them off the metal chairs. Too difficult to replace. All right, so this is a Comedy Sports Stand Up Student Showcase.
Ow!
Thank you very much for being here. Now, one of the key words there is student. That means they're here and want support, which means you need to be supportive and not heckling, please. This is not the show for heckling. If you heckle, Carl will come up here and heckle you back. And you don't want that. Also, we ask, obviously if you have to leave, you can leave. But in a show of support, if you can stick around for all the comedians, that would be great. We strongly encourage that. And if you do have to leave, maybe discreetly and not, pushing your way past people. All right, let me introduce your host for tonight, Carl, who's been doing stand-up comedy for 44 plus years. He's still working on his tight 5 decades. He's almost got it. He's been on radio on Air America and KPOJ. He's been on late night talk shows. He's contributed to late night shows. And he's been teaching with us for, 4 years, 5 years, 20 years, quite a while.
What the fuck?
And nobody came here for a math lesson. It's okay. He's turned out some incredible students, and you're going to see 7 of them tonight. Put your hands together. Let's welcome up Carl.
Thank you, Jay. Give it up for Jay, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Come on, give it up for Jay. How many of you are here to see a friend or family member tonight? Well, they're all huddled over there like Night of the Living Dead, ready to come out. And these are incredible students. I've enjoyed the last 7-8 weeks with them so much, and stay for the entire show. They're just so good, and they made me so proud. And as Jay mentioned, this is my 44th year of doing stand-up, so I'm pretty reflective as well as trying to impart lessons to comics who are new. And after 44 years, you do get a little nostalgic. I was on Alan Thicke's show, Thick of the Night, every week in '83 and '84, before many of you were born. And Alan passed away suddenly. I was on Joan Rivers every other week, and Joan passed away suddenly. I kind of wish I'd been on The Apprentice, but didn't work out. We have had, and I've been teaching 18th class here, and we did have one heckler. I know Jay mentioned hecklers. Marjorie Taylor Greene was in the other night, and thanks for getting that. Some of you watch the news. I do have to travel to Trump country. Yeah, I know. I take the bullet for you. Richland, Washington. I remember 2016 I was in Richland and had breakfast at a diner. I was performing in Richland and the waitress had this huge Trump button on. I mean, in a MAGA hat. I just, I ate my breakfast. But she brought me the bill, and I gave it back to her, and I said, Mexico will pay for it. So I ate free for a week in Richland, at least, you know. Richland audience is a little bit challenging. I was doing dog and cat material in Richmond. A woman yelled out she had a lab. I said, what kind? She said, meth. And but still better than some of the audience in the Deep South. I, performed in all 50 states, over 600 cities. Deep South, is anyone from the South? I should ask people. Oh, they're nervous, people are tightening up just thinking about it, I was in Pamplona, Alabama for the Running of the Rednecks, and I was gored by their sharp intellect, I have to tell you. And we're frozen embryos, our children, but Trump is an adult, that's... Can't argue with that logic, can you? We have one Trumper. Anybody got Trumpers in their family? Anybody? Oh, yeah. This is now a support group, isn't it? Yeah, we have one left, Aunt Fern, in Texas, of all places. Shocking. Aunt Fern is a pain in the ass anyway before she joined MAGA. She's 94. Always complaining, nobody ever calls her, so we got her one of those, how am I driving bumper stickers. So, okay, you're going to have to get these jokes a little bit quicker for the night to go on well. Really, my comics are very quick, so buckle up. All right, you guys ready to get the show started? My honor to introduce this group, and our first performer is, English is a new language for him, and I'm actually very proud of how well he's done in English. I know if we were performing, any of you were performing, in a foreign country, it would be extremely difficult to be funny and pick up that language. Please welcome Yufei Gao, ladies and gentlemen.
So, good evening. I am Yufei. I come from Finland, aka China. We are so bad at politics, so a couple of weeks ago, the U.S. government sent a panda back to China, and then they said the Chinese government sent me back as the exchange of the panda. As a Chinese born person, I always like food. I tried to find some Chinese food in Portland. I went to Panda Express and I ordered the orange chicken, but I'm so disappointed because they brought me the picture of the Trump. And then I tried some American food, of course, and I went to a sandwich shop. I asked them to bring your signature sandwich, and they brought me a sandwich with the white bread and with the all the high-piled bologna and with the Russian dressing and a small pickle on the side. And they said that's Trump's sandwich. So I just figured out there is always something common between China and the US. There's always something so massive. In China, that's the Great Wall. And in American, that's Trump's ego. But, okay, so after all the common things, there are more the difference. So in China, people love food. The food is always the first priority of their life. So we eat food, we eat delicious food, and we try to get grade A in school. We try to perform well at work, get promoted, get higher pay, so that we can buy good food or hire somebody cook for us. And of course, we have sex in China, and our sex is always efficient. Yeah, just because we cannot not always guarantee we can still cook at the age of 70 or 80. We need some backup plan. So in China, an ordinary sex is always in 2 minutes, including all the dressing and undressing. And we always have sex very have the efficient sex, and we don't have sex on sleep. But in American, that's totally different. In American, the priority of the life is sex, porn, and some communication with negative distance. In American, a classical day of a person is always like have sex and have some porn and drive to work, and they have sex on the way to work. And then, and of course, they have sex in their destination. They drive back with sex, have a sexual dream, and after that, they might have some Trump's picture. They might use some Trump's picture to just refueling all the energies I mentioned, like spend on all the sex above. And in different cities in America, people have different ways of sex. So in New York, in New York, they stopped playing the Phantom of the Opera because people have sex in the theater because the Phantom of the Sex. And in San Francisco, the team which just lost the Super Bowl a couple weeks ago, they're going to be 69ers next season. They're just one person, right? And the 69ers is always good style. And have you heard the Cleveland Steamers? And all the shipping camp in the Mount Hood. That's how people have sex in Portland. And if you look at the bookstore in Powell Street, you always have the most porn content across the America. And as a Gen Y from China, I love the lifestyle here.
We love Yufei in class because he brings porn every week. Keep it going for Yufei guy. Whenever he signed up for the class, he said to me, "What's a typical day for you?" So since you, I do drive here. Since Yufei was so brave to do that in English, I've asked the 6 other comics to do their sets in Cantonese. Actually, my husband and I have been married be 27 years this year, so yeah. Not as much sex as the average American. Yeah, our dinner conversations are not exciting anymore, It's like a couple of weeks ago, Gary said, "Is there anything worse than hard butter? Genocide?" Yufei is very nervous because his parents are coming in April from China, and they have no idea the lifestyle he is now in. So he's skipping the spring classes and getting them the fuck out of town. All right, you ready for our next performer, ladies and gentlemen? She's just wonderful. I grew up in New Jersey, and most of my family's from Pennsylvania. She's also from Pennsylvania. Just delightful, so funny. You're going to love her. Jennifer Bloom, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello. Oh my gosh. I am here. This has been a bucket list dream of mine to do stand-up comedy, right? Comedy is the dream, right? Yeah. So I was super excited when I saw that Comedy Sports, shout out Comedy Sports, they posted this class online, Intro to Stand-Up Comedy, i.e. welcome to your midlife crisis. Come on in. So, of course, I signed right up, and I was so excited. I came to my first class, and I met so many really funny, lovely people. But it was halfway through the first class that it dawned on me, oh, shit, this is going to be work. Like, I got to write my own set and memorize set. But then, at the same moment, I had an epiphany, a real aha moment for me. Yeah, I realized something about myself. I am a fundamentally lazy person. And a huge procrastinator. Which does not bode well for stand-up comedy. So what does that mean for tonight? Well, it means the next 10 minutes are going to be super awkward. I got nothing. Nah, that's all right. I'll write something tomorrow. So... anything? How you got anything? Nothing? Hey! I know. Okay, I got it. Woohoo! Why don't we dive in to the whole generation conversation, right? Why not? Everyone's doing it. But I think we can all agree that we've learned all we're going to learn about baby boomers. Am I right? I mean, we don't need to beat that dead horse, okay? And I think we can all be spared the millennial conversation, right? Please, let's spare us all. No, actually, I want to dive into that underrated, undervalued, but scrappy as hell generation, right? That generation in between boomers and millennials, the ones that had to figure stuff out on their own. The original latchkey kid generation, my generation. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I want to talk about Generation X. How many Gen Xers have we got? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're the ones that sure trick, baby, right? That's right. So we sit smack dab in the middle of our self-centered boomer parents and our self-entitled millennial kids. Right? Yeah, baby. And yes, we are the parents of the millennials, of which all I can say is, sorry. Oh my God. You know what's interesting? We can actually look back in history and point to the moment where society actually started to pay attention as to how we are raising our kids, right? Today's kids have it made. They're golden. Every whim and desire is catered to. Every potential is pounded into them. Right? Right? That's what I'm saying. But, I just lost my train of thought. But every potential is pounded into them. But you can track this by looking at kids' birthday parties. Right? And no longer is it okay just to have, a cake and ice cream and a couple of presents with your parents. No. Every birthday party has to exceed in expense and production from the last birthday party. And you can't just compare your kids' birthday parties from each other. You have to compare their friends' birthday parties too, right? Right? So, for example, little Timmy's parents take Timmy and 20 of his best friends and acquaintances to the zoo for his birthday. Well, then poor Brenda's parents are feeling the pressure, so they're taking those same kids to Taiwan and trapping them in the forest so they can have an authentic experience. Right? It is insane. And here's the thing. Not only are we giving elaborate parties to the kids that are here, now we have to throw huge elaborate parties to the kids who weren't even freaking born yet. In the womb. These gender reveal parties, right? For all the rage. So suddenly, it's not enough to learn the sex of your kid. Now you need to hire Circus Away to make the announcement across all social media. I got a little hint for y'all, for your parents to be. Only you and your parents actually care. So save yourself some money. That's all I'm saying. Meanwhile, the Gen Xers, well, we were all born in the haze of Lucky Strikes and cowbells. No wonder we're so scrappy and had to figure stuff out. The truth is, our boomer parents didn't have the time or frankly the interest in raising kids. They were too busy selling out. Going from pot-smoking, acid-dropping, free-loving hippies to greedy, self-centered, money-sucking yuppies. Right? These people smoked so much cocaine, they actually started a war on drugs. Meanwhile, their kids, the Gen Xers, were the first generation in history to be left alone at home to their own devices, to feed themselves, figure out how to get from A to B, and, learn basic survival skills by the time they're 10. Not that I'm bitter or anything. No, it's interesting. Prior to millennials, it seemed like every kid was born into trauma, right? Because prior to millennials, no one gave a shit about the childhood experience. Right? Not our parents, not our teachers, not scoutmasters, and certainly not church leaders. Right? I mean, the priests had their own idea about the childhood experience and was still cleaning up that one. Right? So meanwhile, if we, Gen Xers, showed any kind of signals that we're struggling emotionally or mentally, we were told to shut up and don't talk about it. Because if you don't talk about it, it doesn't exist, right? And if you're not talking about it, then you think you're the only family going through stuff, right? And so it seems like you look around you to your friends and your community, and it seems like everybody else is having a Cosby Show childhood, right? While you are stuck with a married with children childhood. And instead of having a sad sack shoe salesman for the father figure, I had an easily triggered orderly at the city psychiatric center. That's right. My parents met at the city psychiatric center. Don't you judge me. They worked there. They weren't patients. Back off. No, although picture that me cute, right? Hey, babe, you want to go for a drink? Sure, let me just clean off this lobotomy and I'll be right with you. My mother was the head nurse of the schizophrenic ward for 40 years. Yeah, imagine those dinner conversations. Hey, Jennifer, how was your day? Oh, good, I got an A on the spelling test and I auditioned for the school play. That's great, honey. Well, how was your day, Mom? Oh, same old, same old. I had to reorder the straitjacket supplies. I went to a birthday party for lunch, and then in the afternoon I gave electric shock therapy all afternoon. Pass the potatoes. It's funny, most people think that nurses are all compassion and sympathy and empathy. Not my mother. My mother's philosophy was, if you work for me, be fucking fired. Okay? She actually had a patient who, I kid you not, thought he was a shark. Yes, he did. And after years of therapy, and I'm certain a mountain of medication, he realized he was actually a land mammal and probably shouldn't go around biting people. So his mother approached mine and said, hey, I'd like to take my son to the movies. Is that okay? My mother said, sure, that should be fine. What movie do you want to take him to? Yeah, that's right. Jaws. My mother pulled in all her sight training, and she looked this woman straight in the eyes and said, do you have shit for brains or what? But in all fairness to this poor woman, my mother said that to her children on a daily basis, so it was over. Although I have to tell you, being a head nurse at a hospital had its perks, because she had keys to the kingdom, right? So when it was time for her 3 children to head off to college, she didn't spend money and resources on supplies. No, she headed right for the supply closet. Yeah. She came home with boxes of pens and pencils and toothpaste and towels and linens, right? Okay, set the scene. You're in college, you got a hot date, right? You bring them back to the dorm room, it's getting hot and heavy. And your date looks down at, of course, your unmade bed, and he sees property of the Binghamton Psychiatric Center. Right across the street. I have to tell you, there's no bigger mood killer. Experience. Although, I probably should have been more concerned about those who got excited about it. I have to tell you, in my family, growing up, we all had nicknames for each other. So my nickname was Beasley, from the Mrs. Beasley doll. Sidebar, do any of you remember this Mrs. Beasley doll from the 70s and 80s? Yeah, right there. All right, yeah. It was this plushy doll with blue and white polka dot onesie with short blonde hair, granny glasses, and crazy blue eyes. Oh my gosh, I wanted this doll so badly when I was 5 or 6 and was terrified of it the minute I got it. My mother thought this was hilarious. So she dubbed me from thence on, Beasley, Mrs. Beasley. It wasn't until I was an adult that I realized my dear grandmother hadn't been calling me Beasley all these years. She'd been calling me Beasley. Because apparently I cried a lot when I was a baby. What nerd. So when I complained to my mother about this, she said, oh, shut up. Why do you have to be like that? You know, in my family, if you showed any type of sensitivity or weakness or a penchant for pouting, you were toast. Right? And we had, if you had shown any kind of signs that you were struggling emotionally or physically, you were told to buck up and shake it off. Okay. So it's interesting, today's kids, if they, frown a little or they show any kind of neurodiversity or they have ants in their pants, they're rushed off immediately to the nearest therapist for a diagnosis and 9 times out of 10 medication. In my day, you were either the good kid, the bad kid, or the invisible kid. And you held that distinction until or if you were lucky enough to graduate from high school, right? And you got the hell out of town as fast as you could, leaving skid marks on the dirt road. Not that that was me. I grew grew up in the hills of western Pennsylvania in the 70s and 80s, and that meant in traveling in winter meant a new used car. And in my case, it was an AMC Concorde with a wood paneling siding and the windows tinted blue from all the chain smoking from the front seat. So wealth in my rural town was measured by the land you could buy to put your double wide on. The recycling center was pretty much your front yard. The biggest ambition you had in high school was to go to the one restaurant, the McDonald's, and meet your future baby dad. And when that relationship ran its course, you probably had a brother. Right? The whole idea of diversity and inclusion was a rumor of a Catholic family somewhere in town. Right? Status was measured by the size of your pickup truck, and yes, size does matter. With a gun rack and deer antlers and a big old spotlight for the best cow tipping in town attached. The local bar served both kinds of beer and had racist trivia Tuesdays. It's funny, my brothers and I grew up on a country road in Pennsylvania, and we had to figure out our own entertainment, how to entertain ourselves. And that may have meant stealing the rusted out oil barrels from our neighbor and rolling them down the dirt road, and then praying that we didn't fall into the cliff on the side of the road into the deep ravine below. Yes, clearly we had shit for brains. It's funny because today's kids, right, have no opportunity for boredom or creativity or imagination because every minute of their day is scheduled, right, is accounted for. For Gen Xers, we were told on a Saturday or Sunday morning, get out of the house and don't come back till dark. The only parental directive we had was don't get shot by the hunters in the woods. And for pity's sake, don't fall into the Susquehanna River. Other than that, have at it. Well, that's my time. I hope you have been able to gain a little insight into Generation X, why we're as scrappy and direct as we are. And all I can say is if my insight hasn't shifted your opinion at all, I'm simply saying, oh, shut up. Why did it be like that?
Jennifer Bloom, ladies and gentlemen. Jennifer. Anyone been to Pennsylvania? Yeah. Where in Pennsylvania, sir?
Southeastern Pennsylvania, Lancaster County.
Oh, Lancaster County, yeah. James Carville, who was partly responsible for electing Bill Clinton in '92, had done Harris Wofford's campaign in '91 in Pennsylvania. He described Pennsylvania as Philadelphia and Pittsburgh with Alabama in between. It's a famous, right? So it's not the scariest place. I've been to all 50 states, performed in all 50 states. Arkansas, I can tell you, in a league of its own. Anyone been to Arkansas? I saw a 12-year-old girl in Arkansas smoking right in front of her children. It was... One more time for Jennifer Bloom. One of the reasons I love doing this class is, and I love comedy, is everyone has a different point of view, attitude, voice, experience, and you're going to see a veritable menagerie here tonight. Our next performer is one of my favorite students. He's taken 4 classes with me, so you know he's great. Please welcome Idris Wyatt.
Recently, I've been wrestling with a strange contradiction. That while I want to be a dad, I don't want to be a father. And I realize it sounds like I want to be an ass, not a butt. But there is a difference. Take, for example, the humble dad joke. that genial, working hard or hardly working fired at neighbor Steve while you're going your Sunday walk? Or a high, sleepy-eyed dad aimed at a tired toddler in the back of a Dodge Caravan? They're harmless. You might just want to die on the inside, figuratively. But a dad joke won't hurt. A father joke, on the other hand, you already know. A father joke sounds something like that time you told your dad you want to go to art college. And he goes, "Wow, congratulations, that is a big decision. I just want you to know that your mother will always be proud of you." Father joke will cut you down. But the differences don't stop there. Take the dad bod, for example. That beautiful hourglass figure in reverse. Body of a man who's given up what he loves for who he loves. He stopped running so he can watch his kids run. The body of a man you could count on during Thanksgiving dinner to unbuckle his pants to make room for some more of Mom's wonderful pie. On the other hand, when Father takes off his belt, Indiana Jones at home is not fun. But we're not going to go there. We're going to stick to the bods. And on the other side of the dad bod is the father body. And you'd be forgiven if you don't remember what a father body is. You might be repressing that memory. Father body is that thing you saw that morning when you woke up before you were supposed to and saw something you weren't supposed to see. It was that Sasquatch you saw strolling in the bus out of the bathroom. And the moment you discovered that hair, in fact, rose everywhere. We've all got that moment in there somewhere. As far as I know, my mom was born in blue jeans and a t-shirt, and that's how she's gonna go out. My father, I do not have the luxury of pretending to know any different. That's two differences. 2.5 if you count the belt thing. Let's go for one more. Let's go to the top. Let's go to the Holy Father. That guy that wants you to come to his house once a week to pay tribute, who knows how you're supposed to live your life, and knows all the ways that you're messing up. That is some father behavior. But I insist, if there's a holy father, there's also a holy dad. Because someone was supporting Jesus while he grew his hair out, was hanging out with his buddies, traveling the world, and turning water into wine. Holy dad's that guy that people reach out to like once every few months in moments of extreme inconvenience. Like, look man, I know it's been a while. But I don't ask for much, and God, it'd be really great if I could just get these Taylor Swift tickets right. You disappoint Holy Father, he'll send your ass to hell. Holy Dad just wants you to check in every once in a while and make sure that you're doing well. I think what it boils down to really is a difference in responsibility. I think a dad's job is to be a friend, a cheerleader, to be a confidant, to be there to support. A father's job, I think, is to make sure the kid knows his place in the world. For better or oftentimes worse. And I realize that makes me sound not the greatest when I say I want to be a dad, not a father. sounds like I just want to have all the fun and none of the responsibility, and that is objectively true for everyone. Like if they invented a shitless baby tomorrow, everyone would be trading in their shitty baby for a shitless baby immediately. No one wants to deal with that shit. Now, that's not the responsibility that really trips me up. I'm okay with that. Where I get tripped up is thinking about the kind of world I'd be bringing the kid into. And the reality is, I don't feel so great about the world. Like, I remember when I was a kid, the kind of things that kept me up at night. I was born in Germany, and I moved here when I was 8 years old to Eugene, Oregon, which was already devastating enough. But to make things worse, the first movie I saw, thanks to my uncle, was the movie Twister. And if you haven't seen it, it's about tornadoes and people chasing them. And there's no such thing in Germany like just giant cyclones of wind that come down from the sky and rip you out of your bed at night. The panic I felt when I realized we didn't have one of those cellars with like the 2 doors. In my defense, the movie did not explain that this happened in like a very specific part of the country, which is not Eugene, Oregon. But it didn't stop there. I soon discovered that we had moved to a place on the Pacific Rim of Fire, one of the most volcanically active regions of the world. In fact, right before we got here, one of the mountains blew their tops. Kids were bringing ashes from this thing for show and tell. There was no avoiding the fact that we had moved to a dangerous place. And not only that, with volcanoes comes earthquakes. And apparently we're overdue for not just any earthquake, but like the biggest one ever. Oh, I mean, like, I didn't speak English at the time, and I couldn't understand any of their songs. But when I heard of the band Earth, Wind, and Fire, I was very confident that we shared a common set of core concerns. Then Armageddon came out. I was confident we were going to go out with the dinosaurs, only stopped by some oil riggers turned astronauts, saving us at the last second to some Aerosmith. Man, it's interesting thinking back on that now and how silly those fears feel. Like, I remember when I first heard about climate change, and that didn't keep me up at all. I was like, the grown-ups are on this one. They say we've got 20 years, they've got a plan, we know what to do, the grown-ups are on it, we're good. And then I grew up, and we didn't really do anything about it. And a lot of weird things happened along the way. Like, you guys remember last year when all that hubbub about the aliens came out? And we all got too many texts from that one friend who was just too into it? I remember just like not really caring. And I was like, you know what? I hope they're real. I'd love to see those little gray dudes try to do to people what people do to people better than people do it. Like, what are they gonna do? Terraform the earth and slowly make it uninhabitable? We've been on that. Replace the leader of the free world with an ineffective moron. Not only did we do that, but a bunch of people want an encore. You know, maybe they get disease that's like super contagious and dangerous. Yep, we did that. Not only did we do that, when everyone for once had a chance to personally do something, and doing something was doing nothing, half of us were like, I know this sounds like I'm jaded, and a little bit, yeah. But I'm also optimistic. Honestly, like, I want this to work out. I want there to be a bright, beautiful tomorrow. I want everyone who wants one to have their beautiful, shitless baby. But if it doesn't, I just really don't want it to be Bon Jovi's Living on a Prayer, unironically playing at a Trump rally. I want it to be short. I want it to be sweet. I want it to be cinematic. And I want it to go well with some Aerosmith. Thank you.
A green flag, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable. When he started 7 weeks ago, didn't speak English. It was, he would go for a Dries. Just So, I saw something in Portland today I've never seen before, which is saying something for Portland. I saw a car with Washington plates going the correct way down a one-way street. Anyone from Washington here? I should. Oh yeah, where are you from? Oh, I saw your car. Where are you from? Seattle. Oh, Seattle. You came all the way from Seattle for the show? No. Oh fuck no. Okay. It's happened to be walking by. Yeah. I really like Washington and Washingtonians. They have a place in my heart because in 2012, the voters of Washington State did something no other state has done, or may yet do. On the same day, Washingtonians legalized gay marriage and pot. Same day. Which is telling the rest of the 49 states we weren't reading Leviticus correctly. It says if a man lies with a man, he should be stoned. So, this comedy thing is just too easy. If anyone is interested in signing up for the courses, there are 3 classes for stand-up available in spring quarter, April. PortlandComedy.com is the website. Sign up. We have a lot of students from this quarter. Kara James is here. Give Kara a round of applause. Dylan Hyde, Callie Peters, Calvin Jennings, my former student Bill Stefano, and so many. We have 4 more comics to go up. They're terrific. Stay with us, and I know many of you here to see. Anyone here to see Stacia? And Sarah, we just got a great show. We're going to keep it going now with Stuart Merrill. He's very funny. Stuart Merrill, ladies and gentlemen. Bring him up.
Hi, everybody. That was a really hard act to follow. He's funny, right? Damn. Anyway, my name's Stuart Merrill, and I woke up this day. So, as I get older, I have a problem with people. This is gonna work. As I get older, I have a problem with people looking at me and they're like, "He's an old white boomer." Of course, he's a racist. I'm a retired gay rights lobbyist. I've been fighting those assholes my entire life. But finally, I came up with the perfect solution. I dye my beard purple. It's amazing. I mean, seriously, how many of you thought I was a white supremacist when I got up there? Straight people, right? I mean, see, now you threw me off. So, straight people. I mean, you know, it's not their fault. They were born that way. Inferior. But, I mean, like, you know, at least I have a reason to not like old white guys. I mean, you guys, let's face it, I mean, you don't like old white guys because it's fun, right? I mean, let me give you a couple of examples. What would you say Right? What would you say? What would you say if one of your friends sent you a 5-second video clip of another one of your friends, a minority around your age? Well, we're in Portland, and it's whiter than Oslo, Norway here, so your imaginary minority friend. And it's a 5-second video clip of him stuttering. You'd be horrified. But now you get to know white guy, like your president. Now that shit's funny, right? No. Or let me give you another example, and this happened to me. I'm at my gym, minding my own business. I happen to be wearing one of my favorite workout shirts. It has a German flag on it. I lived in Germany for years. I loved it there. And it's shoulder day. I'm just doing my thing. And suddenly the manager comes out and he kicks me out because he says I'm a neo-Nazi. Too soon. Maybe they don't teach you what the Nazis did to homosexuals on TikTok. So, anyway, like I say, at least I have a reason to not like old white guys. I mean, they've been beating me up since I was 12. Well, when I was 12 was also about the time that I found my mother's closet. Now, my mother was a gorgeous Russian woman, and she had a collection of Chanel. Give me a minute. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, there is nothing hotter than a handsome man in a tight skirt with a big ass bulge, right? I mean, big dicks and dresses, baby, yeah. And speaking of, hi honey. And speaking of little dicks, my Mormon bishop, when I was 12, it ordered all the men in my life to fulfill their spiritual duty by beating the queer out of me. And it's okay, you can laugh. It took me 50 years to figure it out. And then you heard me right, I grew up Mormon. But not any Mormon family, no. I was born into one of the founding families of the Mormon Church. My great-great-grandfather, the Apostle Merrill, had 8 wives and 46 children. By the 100th anniversary of his birth, he had 798 offspring. There are literally over 30,000 of us today. Now, he had a thing for redheads, so he married 7 of them. Good thing he's not alive anymore. Now, when you're related to the entire northern half of Utah and a couple counties in southern Idaho, it really presents some problems. I mean, you guys, you complain because you have to buy Christmas presents for your 2 grandmothers. Try having 7 sister grandmothers. It's not like they don't already own a lifetime supply of full-length Laura Ashley dresses, and they don't accessorize, so what the fuck are you gonna do? And it's super hard for my straight cousins, because they have to find someone they can legally marry. Now, my grandfather's 5 brothers married my grandmother's 5 sisters, so basically what I'm telling you is the only reason that I'm not a hemophiliac is the railroad arrived with a fresh bird of pride before another generation had time to breathe. Now, by the time I was 17, I was done with the whole Mormon shit. I mean, you know, let's face it, the whole religion is based on the hallucinogenic mushroom trip of a horny 17-year-old boy. Where else are you going to come up with, really? I can have as many wives as I want, and I'm going to populate my own planet? and God lives on the planet Cool Beans? Oh no, I'm sorry. Kool-Aid? Oh, cool. Cool upstairs right here on these own places. You can't see it. I mean, it had to be mushrooms, right? So, anyway, new topic. On the very first day of the first class, our esteemed teacher Carl's first words were, just don't make fun of homeless people or homosexuals. And I'm going to leave all the homeless jokes alone. And you guys, you're not allowed to make fun of homosexuals. But I am. So, we're gonna start with the acronym. BLT, oh, sorry, no, that's the sandwich. Well, we like those too, don't we, honey? And actually, in Germany, they have a special word for the guy in the middle. They call him Lucky Pierre. Now, LGBTQIA2S+. I don't even know what half those letters mean. And it fills my brain with anxiety every time I have to say it. I mean, what if I get the order wrong or leave a letter out? Or God forbid, what if I accidentally use the word trans incorrectly in a sentence or call them a he or a she? And if it's hard for me, it must be murder for you inferior straight people. Now, I've given this a lot of thought, and I've come up with a perfect solution. Henceforth, we shall refer to that minefield of political correctness that is the gay acronym as our lovable fruit salad. Now, right? Now, when you say our lovable fruit salad, it just makes you want to go out and get some. And after all, that is the point we're gay, we're trying to recruit you. And especially this daddy's fruit salad. My fruit salad's famous. I marinate the fruit overnight in brandy. It's like a fucking facelift of the raisins. And then to give it a little extra spice, I add some crystallized ginger. And, well, the boys do seem to like daddy's extra spice. Okay, I didn't see by all your reaction. I know what you're thinking. Some gay guy, he thinks he's funny. He's going to get on stage, and now he's going to tell jokes about his big dick for 10 minutes. Very good news for you. It's only 3. Unless you don't laugh, and then it's 20. And in actuality, I don't even possess a dick. The boys refer to him as Daddy Richard, Sir Daddy Richard. Now, what I love most about telling Sir Daddy Richard jokes is seeing which one of you didn't laugh. Now, I don't know if you know this, but every gay man laughed. None of the lesbians laughed. I have a tip for you straight ladies. You want to go home with the straight guy who laughed. Because the ones who didn't, well, they drive monster trucks and muscle cars, and you know what that means. Now, as we've established, I'm not perfect. I don't like everybody. I also have a bone to pick with you youngins. You guys, you get all your news and form your social opinions exclusively on social media. Now, at least when Republicans get their news, they actually watch the news. Well, they watch Fox, so, you know, so. But they learn very important facts on Fox, like hurricanes are the result of gay marriage. And there's a secret ranch hidden somewhere in Arizona where they breed beautiful, bloviating blonde bimbos and then give them a show on Fox. Most importantly, of late they've learned that the ultimate funny old white guy, God, through divine intervention, has given us Trump, the new misogynistic messiah. But you guys, your words, you don't even watch the news. I mean, you only watch social media. And believe me, I get the attraction. I mean, just this week, I got to watch Tucker Carlson explaining the importance of Judeo-Christian values, only he called them Judo-Christian values, as in, yuck! Just my opinion, it suits him better personally. But, oh, and then there's the wonderful congresswoman from Colorado, Lorena Bobbitt. Oh, no, my bad. She's the one who chopped up her husband's dick, threw it out the window, he sewed it back on, and became a porn star. I mean, the Honorable Congresswoman Bovard, formerly famous for trying to shut down all the drag shows, because as we all know, drag queens are a terrible example of family values. Now, she's a little more famous, and the whole fucking thing's on video, you gotta see it. She's a little bit more famous for getting kicked out of a family-friendly performance of Beetlejuice for groping her boyfriend's cock. Mind you, it was her boyfriend, not her double-digit IQ bubba of a husband. He was home with the chihuahuas. No, this was her boyfriend's cock while he was fondling her tits and she was vaping next to a pregnant woman. Oh, but it gets better. Then she said, "Do you know who I am?" "Yeah, sweetie, we know who you are, and we fucking love you. Please, never stop. We desperately miss Sarah Palin and Michelle Bachmann." Now, in conclusion, I love saying that because it makes you sound really intelligent. I used to be longest, and I used to be intelligent. But yeah, well, that's for another set, drugs. Anyway, in conclusion, I actually want to get serious for just a minute. For the first 15 years of my adult life, when I was around a lot of you guys' age, I was going to as many as 2 or 3 funerals a week for my friends dying of AIDS, and they always made me swear the same thing, that I would never stop fighting for equality for all. And honest to God, guys, several times a week, I sit back and I look at you young'uns, and the way that all of y'all are young compared to me, except for Carl. Honest God, I sit back and I just watch you, and it brings tears to my eyes, because I don't know if you know this, but you truly are the dream that a lot of us little farts have devoted our lives to create, and you're magnificent. Never forget that. But right now, that dream and our democracy is in serious trouble. I mean, if the election were held today, they're saying Trump would win. Now, my favorite poet, Maya Angelou, and personally, I think she was the second coming of Christ, and we missed it. Oh well. Anyway, she always said, if somebody tells you who they are, believe them. Trump has said over 30 times in the past couple of months that he wants to set up internment camps and put his political enemies and brown immigrants in them. Meanwhile, we all love to make fun of this old fart of a fumbling president of ours, because he does stutter in one speech out of 1,000. But has it ever occurred to you that perhaps why a lot of us don't like him is because we've only seen that one speech? We haven't seen the 999 where he forgave your student loans, made insulin unaffordable, passed the largest investment package in the history of the world into alternative energy sources, and oh yeah, saved the economy. We're literally the only economy on the face of the earth that isn't in a huge economic crisis right now. So please, do me a favor, have a little compassion for us old farts. And I'm not just talking old white fags or old white presidents. I'm talking old people of every race, every gender, and every proclivity, because there are a lot of us out there who have devoted our lives to creating the magnificent miracle that is you. And now you expect us to sit back and watch you fuck you up, yucking it up on YouTube. Please, get informed, get involved, read the news, get registered and vote. Because if you don't, a year from now, we're not going to be standing up here telling jokes. We're going to be talking about that YouTube video where armed policemen go into internment camps and steal innocent children from their brown parents, and we'll be paying for the whole thing. Thank you for letting me participate. My name is Stuart Isle. I'm very proud to say I work at this thing, and I'm also related to my podcast. How do you have it? Great.
Stuart, you know, I want to tell you how talented Stuart is, because Stuart's actually straight. And can I teach him or what? Coming in, he's back in the corner fucking chicks and we have one more time for Stuart. We have shows for my students coming up on Sunday the 17th, Sunday the 24th. I forgot to mention Chad Harder is here, and so many of my students support their other students. I had a very easy time coming out to my family very quickly, except my mom, who is a Republican in Florida. Can you imagine? And I would like visit my mom, and I would in Florida, and she accidentally bleached my Obama t-shirt, so I set fire to her Glenn Beck Christmas sweater. That's But I got Gary down there, I think it was 98 for the first time, to meet my fox-watching mother, and we're sitting at the table, and she goes, "Now, which one of you is gay?" And I'm like, "Okay, which one of you needs Thorazine, Mom?" Which she followed up with, "Well, we didn't have homosexuals in the 1950s. I said, "Well, somebody put the fins on those Cadillacs. Somebody did those beehive hairdos, Mom." We have a very good friend, Jenny, who's a lesbian, also has a right-wing mother in Florida. She said she came out to her mother as a lesbian, and her mother goes, "What's next, Jenny? Heroin?" Lesbianism, the gateway drug. One of my former students actually took 2 classes with me. Felipe Cerrone is here. Give Felipe a round of applause for that. From Chile, and just so funny. I'm proud of all my students. And this next performer came to watch Felipe, and he's a friend of Felipe's, and he took the class. Just amazing talent. Please welcome Philippe Tibet. Bring him up. Come on, Philippe.
I am an Arab. Sorry guys, it's my first time ever on stage. I'm a little bit nervous and I just wanted to make sure that you guys were as well. Let's get this party started. Now I know what you're thinking, there's no way this Luigi-looking motherfucker is an Arab. But actually I am. My parents are from Lebanon, and no, I'm not talking about Lebanon, Southern Oregon. I'm talking about the real country of Lebanon. We're famous for hot women. We're famous for good food. And most recently, we're famous for being second on the IDF's list of countries they want to turn into a holiday resort. But we don't need to talk about that right now. So, being from the Middle East and having Middle Eastern parents, there was always a lot of pressure on me to be better. And just be very successful and always do my best. And when I was a young kid, my father told me that I was going to be the funniest person in the family. He basically told me, "You are the family clown." And I took that as a license to just do and say whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, with little to no consequences, forever. And it's been 29 years, and you'd think it's not a great strategy, but actually, so far so good. I'm still spouting shit in meetings, people don't care, it seems to fly, so I'm good. So being the family clown, my father would always have people over, and he would call me, and he would say, "Filou, ta'ala hon, Uncle Farid is here, come tell him your jokes." So I would run down, 7-year-old me would run down the stairs, and of course my father bequeathed me with his phenomenal sense of humor. So the jokes that I was coming up with were like, for example, what's the difference between unlawful and illegal? And the answer to that would be, well, unlawful is against the law. Illegal is a sick bird. So like, I mean, I'm glad you like it, Calvin, but the level of joke wasn't super elite. But it didn't matter because I had a trick up my sleeve that would work every single time. This thing was a masterpiece. Basically what I do, I'd run up the stairs, I'd turn around, and I'd pull down my pants. Showing everyone my beautiful glowing ass. And this thing worked for years. I mean, it's like clockwork, it worked for years, they loved it. And then one day my father sat me down and he said, "Filou, your gimmick is a little bit old. Maybe you find something new." And that's when I signed up for college class. Alright, so let's talk about comedy and why we're really here. So, I've always been, like I said, obsessed with greatness. You know, for me it's very important to do well and to be successful. So I've always looked to the people in my life or in my world really that are great athletes, artists, so on and so forth. And I thought, what do all of these people have in common? And it's obvious. They've all gone through tremendous adversity, right? And so I was like, okay, Phil, think about this. What's the adversity that I've had to overcome? So, you know, I'm going to be vulnerable with you guys here, so please, you know, like, just be respectful, like, try to stay respectful, because, you know, I'm opening up to you guys like an open therapy session. And so I thought, okay, well, COVID, you know, we've all gone through COVID. COVID was horrible for a number of reasons, but by far and away the worst reason for me was that all the direct flights from Portland to Miami got canceled, which meant that every time I wanted to go on holiday, I had to fly through Atlanta on a red eye, and that's just not very convenient. I mean, that's not really how you start a holiday, right? Like, that's not really, I mean, the death sucked too, but that was, yeah, maybe you guys aren't resonating with that. Let me try something else. So, I thought about it some more, and I did spend 2 years where I lived in Salt Lake City. So Salt Lake, so he gets the joke. You guys must have never lived there, but it fucking sucks. And it was devastating for me, but we made it out on the other side. Okay, clearly you guys aren't resonating with this. Let me try something else. When I was 23, also my sister's watching on Zoom, she's gonna love this one. When I was 23, I fell in love with an actress. I went to a movie, I saw the movie, I fell in love with the lead actress, and I thought, wow, that's the one for me. By hook and crook, I managed to weasel my way into a party that I knew she was gonna be at. I put on my best set of clothes, I fixed my hair up, I drowned myself in perfume, and I tried to, you know, make some moves. And I thought the night was going pretty well, but I was really heartbroken to see that she actually left that night with a tiny woman on her arm. And you'd think, okay, like, you know, best man wins kind of a thing, like it's okay, it happens to everyone. And it was sad, but where the trauma really comes in is actually that tiny woman is my sister. And they're now married, so that was really tough. But there is a silver lining. They let me tell this story at the wedding. Everyone loved it, and I didn't need to show my ass, so that was a huge win for me. Okay, let me think, what else? Oh, I've got some friends in the crowd. Guys, shout out to you guys for being here. I know this is going to hit home because I've had this conversation with some of you guys, but you know, last year, Delta changed their membership program. And that fucking rocked my world. You know, I had been building equity in this thing, and I was at serious risk of being demoted from a platinum medallion to a gold medallion, and I was not down for that. Like, that was not okay for me. So I sent them a long email, and actually they tweaked the rules, and I'm still platinum, baby. So let's go! Let's go! Like, shit, is there no adversity in my life? Like, is this real? So then I thought about this a little bit longer, and in the fall of 2021, I got diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. And I thought, wow, if this thing doesn't kill me, I might become great. Thanks, Carl. So, the autoimmune disease is called Hashimoto's. Yeah, exactly. I thought the same as you guys. Wow, I'm going to turn into a tiny Japanese man. Great. But that's not the case. And I looked it up. It's actually quite serious. It could be fatal for some people. So I went to my doctor and I said, hey, doc, how long do I have to live? And she said, well, honey, we caught it early. Take this pill, stay away from gluten, and you'll be fine. So not only am I not dying, but now I'm just like every other Portland asshole who doesn't eat gluten. Yeah, so I'm like, man, there's really not much adversity in my life. I think I need to go and seek it out. Really seek it out. So, you know, a few years ago I went out on a date with this girl who I was semi-into, let's say, but we didn't have much in common. And she was telling me about her story, and I noticed that in her story there was like a 3-year chunk of time that was missing. And so I asked her, I said, hey, what happened between the ages of 19 and 22? And she said, well, it's not really first date material, but I was a heroin addict. And I thought, now I'm fucking turned on. Maybe through some sort of reverse osmosis, I could like onboard the trauma and adversity and like level up via her. Kind of thing. I thought if I just hooked up with this person, maybe I could catch an STA, like sexually transmitted adversity. And maybe that would be legit. So I called her up and I said, hey, let's do this again. And she turned me down. And that's when I realized the universe is conspiring against me. They just don't want me to be great. Okay, so like I said, I am an Arab, but I am the most punctual Arab you'll ever meet. I feel very comfortable in saying that because I don't know if you guys know this, but we actually have a time zone named after us. It's Arab Standard Time. Idris, I'm sure you know about it. So Arab Standard Time, for those who don't know, is like 2 hours later than Black people time, and like 1 hour later than Latino Central Time. So it's like really fucking late. It's like, we don't even know if you're gonna show up. That's just how it is. And so I met this lovely girl who very much runs on Arab Standard Time. And I thought, yeah, this is good. This is gonna test me on a daily basis. She's gonna be late. It's gonna test me, and it will make me stronger. Until one year, she showed up to Valentine's Day dinner like an hour and a half late. And I was like, Habibti, I don't know if I can do this. Like, this is really tough for me. And I got upset at her. And she was like, Phil, chill. Calm down. Why are you so angry all the time? I think you need to talk to someone. I think you need to go to therapy. And I was like, yo, I don't think you get me. I'm seeking out trauma. And you're trying to send me to therapy? I don't know if this is going to work out. So then I started thinking, okay, I need to find something where I'm in control. Like, I want to be in control of my future. I started listening to David Goggins, talking about running bar, lifting heavy shit. And I was like, okay, cool, maybe I should just sign up randomly for a marathon. And I did. It didn't really do much for me. It just really increased my fitness and turned me into one of those running wankers who just like, takes their running shoes everywhere. And it's like, hey, want to go for a run? Hey, want to go for a run? And I don't really like that side of me very much, so I decided to put it to one side. So then I thought, okay, let's take things up a level. What if you locked yourself in a sauna for 30 minutes? At 200 degrees Fahrenheit, and just fucking cook yourself. Maybe if you cook yourself, you'll become great. And so that's what I did. So I sat myself down in the sauna, turned that thing up to 200 degrees, set the alarm for 30 minutes. So I'm sitting in the sauna. First 10 minutes are actually quite enjoyable, you know? You're like, this is quite nice. And then slowly but surely, you start to see the beads of sweat forming on your forearms and your legs. And I thought, wow, this is pretty cool because with each bead of sweat that's forming, I can feel the privilege leaving my body. And I was like, this is awesome. A couple more minutes go by, and I'm quite uncomfortable at this point. And I'm like, wow, this is what it must be like to not have AC at home. That fucking sucks. I couldn't even imagine. A few more minutes go by, my back is slick, like a dolphin. I'm sweating like a Republican at a gay bar. And I'm just like, no, Phil, stay in the game, man. This is where the games are. This is where it's hard. Like, if you can do this, you can fucking do anything, man. I'm seeing double, I'm seeing triple. And then finally my alarm goes off. I'm like, wake it. I grant myself freedom. Now it's time for the ice bath. So the ice bath. The ice bath is set at 35 degrees Fahrenheit. The alarm is set for 6 minutes. I jump in that sucker. And the first minute or so is actually not bad because I'm kind of like re-regulating my body because I was so hot from the sauna. So that's fine. And then it gets a little bit uncomfortable. My feet are cold. And I think, wow, this is what it must feel like to not have heated floors at home. What kind of a life is that? A little bit more time goes by, and my breath starts getting a little bit shallow because it's hard to breathe in there. And then I'm like, come on, Phil, you've watched so many fucking breathing videos on TikTok. You need to know what to do now. Surely you know what to do. So I calm my mind. And it actually works. The pain goes away. And then I realize, wait, hold on. It's not that the pain has gone away. It's that my hands and feet are so numb, I can't feel anything anymore. I look down, and my dick has disappeared entirely. Holy shit, I start panicking. I'm like, come on, Phil, fucking hang in there, man. There's only a couple minutes left. This is what's gonna make you great. So I breathe my way through it. The alarm goes off. I grant myself freedom. And I sit back down in the sauna just to thaw myself out this time. I whip out my phone, because you've got to document the whole thing, of course. And there's two reasons why I would want to document it and post it on Instagram, of course. So the first one being, I want to show people that I can do hard things. Like, that's important to me. You know, like, hey guys, I can be great. Like, I can do hard shit. And the second reason is, I want to show people that I got a dope backyard set. That's super important to me too. I want people to know I got shit in order. So I sign it off. Thank you at Joe Rogan, at David Goggins for the inspiration. Be comfortable being uncomfortable. Hashtag stay hard. Thank you guys for listening to my bullshit.
For that, ladies and gentlemen, come on. Wow. You know how much fun these classes are for me, to have people come and I think a lot of my students are naturals, but I don't care if you're a natural. It takes a lot of guts to get up on stage and do what they do. Give them all a round of applause. Really proud. Well, one more time for police. Just and a whole section of police hats, ladies and gentlemen. Turn on the fucking sauna. Let's see them sweat. Okay, we have, by the way, what's great about stand-up, I said it before, and when I started the Comedy Store in 1979, Mitzi Shore would say it's America's town hall. You get every point of view, every voice, every perspective, and humor is a universal language, and you're seeing that tonight. It is, and it's the shortest distance between two people. I tell my students, always look for the gifts. We have our dry cleaner in our neighborhood, Mrs. Lee from Korea, South Korea, is our dry cleaner. She doesn't know much English, but she's like the funniest person ever. Like a couple of weeks ago, I had a pair of jeans with a red stain right here, and you're supposed to point them out. And I point out the stain, and she goes, "Is it the lipstick?" Take the fucking class, all right? Join us now. It's not, I've had two students this quarter who have been office holders, elected to public office. Dylan Heights, who's on school board. The next performer, who served 2 terms on the Canby City Council. And there's the rest of the council, ladies and gentlemen. No idea there was a meeting tonight. The mayor might be impeached. Just stay with us. Started a fucking movement there. Yeah. I've really gotten to know her well and enjoy her comedy and her perspective. Please welcome Sarah Spoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my gosh, after party at Philippe's house, am I right? Hi, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for coming. Big ups to you guys. Portlanders don't leave their house until May, so I know this is a big deal. My name's Sarah Spoon. I use she, her pronouns, to get that out there. A couple of facts about me. I'm a rapper. Yeah. No, it's okay, I get it. I don't look like a rapper. But no fear, when I perform, I also don't sound like a rapper. I'm also a former city councilor. So when I first ran for public office in 2016, I was so naive. I think like a lot of us, I thought we would end that night with our first woman president. And the Nazis would just go running back to their caves. It would be like that year everyone said, "What's up?" Like, we all know it happened, but everyone's too ashamed to admit they were a part of it. I was elected to Canby City Council in 2016, the same night Donald Trump was elected president. Very confusing night for me. Do you guys know where Canby is? Yeah, so it's like past the suburbs a little bit. It's really on the rural and urban divide that they talk about on the news. I was Canby's first openly queer city councilor. And so I was a bit of a liberal lightning rod for the far right, for being who I am, believing what I believe, and for having the audacity to advocate for a dog park. I ran for re-election in 2020, and I think to everyone's surprise, I won again. And 10 months after I was re-elected, a woman filed a recall petition against me. She had found one of my rap videos online. She was not a fan. There were some pretty salacious sexual innuendos rooted deeply in weather terminology. So this song goes, for example, like, "Close all the bridges, 'cause tonight you're gonna get 10 inches. And this is public record, you can find this online. The actual words on the recall petition say, this is what the recall petition says, America. It says, the citizens of Canby seek to remove council member Spoon for her repeated displays of vulgarity via social media. These are the same people that voted for a man that says he grabs women by the pussy. But okay. Weird flex. I had a couple of reactions to this. Initially, I was like, "You're welcome, Canby. Someone has to make this town interesting." And my second reaction was a little bit of confusion around the irony that the woman that filed the recall petition owns the vitamin store in town, and she clearly does not get enough vitamin D. It's a bit of a groaner, but I'm keeping it and you can't stop me. The recall failed, but last year in 2023 we left Canby anyway. You're welcome, Canby. And 3 days after we moved into our new house, I found a lump in my right breast. I know, the boobs. Even after leaving public office, the right was determined to ruin my life. I was diagnosed with stage 2B breast cancer. It had spread to my lymph nodes, so I did the whole gamut. Double mastectomy, radiation, chemotherapy. This is not a choice I made. It's just happening to me. Most people don't know this, but health insurance is actually required by law to cover breast reconstruction. Big ups for health insurance. Oh! And there's this incredible group of women in the breast cancer community we call flatties because they elect to not reconstruct. I think that's incredibly courageous. They're just out loud rejecting the societal expectation that we fulfill the male standard of beauty and femininity. Right? Yay, flatties. That's not for me. I'm gonna find the man in a different way. I'm just going to hit my out-of-pocket maximum every year and just keep getting medical procedures. Shove that camera right up my ass. In fact, let's just put a camera in every hole and just inspect this entire situation. Very suspect. racking up those insurance claims, look, I was a flatty against my will for 44 years. I want Anthem Blue Cross to pay for the tits of my dreams. Near as I can tell, that's the only way you win at American Health Insurance. I say I'm in remission, right? From candy. And from cancer, I'm in remission from both. But that's not really the term we use in the community anymore. Breast cancer is incurable. Oh, so sorry for me. Breast cancer is incurable, so we use the term assumed no evidence of disease. Like assumed no evidence of disease. Because they don't do any tests or any scans. It's just if you're not symptomatic, they assume there's no evidence of disease. That's banana pants, right? What a weird way to manage terminal illness. So imagine if this is how we treated everything else in our life. Like if you want to get a couple of ribeyes at the grocery store, but there's no Best By date, so you walk up to the counter and you're like, are these still good? And the guy's like, well, there's no evidence of disease. Or like you get bit by a woodland creature and animal control rolls up, and they're like, wow, no evidence of disease. Or you go to a bar and you bring someone home and suggest you use protection, and they're like, well, no evidence of disease. Calvin knows what I'm talking about. So I'm from Canby. It's actually my hometown. I grew up there. I went to Karis Elementary School. And in the 6th grade, we had an art unit on pottery. And recently, my parents found one of the pieces I made when I was 11 years old, and they gave it to me. And it is breathtaking. It's a bit of a cameo. I made a pottery piece of someone that I really admired at the time, so it's like oval-ish with a face in the middle. The hair is the color and texture of straw. There's a tiny fedora hat. On either side of the head are a black and white music note that look vaguely X-rated. There's like eyes looking at you from different hemispheres. It's almost like a wax figure of Axl Rose was left out in the sun. Look, there's evidence of disease. When my parents found it and gave it to me, now that I'm an adult, even I had no idea who it was, and I made it. So I posted a picture on Facebook to see if anyone else could identify the famous person. And I had a lot of guesses. I had a lot of like Boy George, Sebastian Bach, Clockwork Orange. 89 guesses and not a single correct answer. But lucky for me, I had written the name of my muse on the back. This is my first hero, my very first concert, 80s pop icon Debbie Gibson. And I'm still a fan, so when she went on tour last summer, she played at Elon just north of here, and my husband wanted to take me. I was still in chemotherapy, I was very ill, I was bald, I had no eyebrows. My eye doctor said I had a single eyelash. I was kind of ashen looking, and I was weak enough that I was using a wheelchair when I left the house. But everyone wanted this to be really special for me. I was having a not great year. And so my brother, a 47-year-old man, tweeted, "Hey, at Debbie Gibson. My sister is a big fan and she will be at your show tonight. She is currently in breast cancer treatment, but I know it would blow her mind if you gave her a shout out from stage. If you up for it, hit me up in DM. No worries though, heart emoji." And I know this is going to come as a surprise to a lot of you, but Debbie Gibson absolutely did not hit my brother in the I did get to meet her after the concert though, and I thought it would be so fun to show her a picture of this art piece I made as a child. So my husband rolled me up to her, and I took every bit of strength I had that evening to stand up out of the wheelchair. And I picked up my phone and I said, "Look, Debbie, it's you. I made this." And the look on her face went from concern for my health to concern for her safety. And that's when my husband yelled out, "When she was 11. She made it when she was 11. Because without that very critical piece of information, it appeared that I made this pottery piece with a clown hat and 2 dildos for her just last week. Speaking of clown hats and dildos, I went to New Orleans. Hey. I'm a person that believes that when I travel to other parts of the country or the world, I have a moral obligation as a white person to witness the atrocities that white people have committed in that place, right? So fun to vacation with. So when we were in the South, my fluffy little Portland heart thought the right way to do this would be to visit a plantation. And so I thought, clearly they're going to talk about the horrors of slavery. So I bought a ticket. And my tour guide was a white man in a Confederate soldier's uniform, which I found to be a very bold fashion choice given what was happening. And he said, well, step right up, my name is Thibodeau. I'm gonna give you a tour of plantation. We're gonna talk about the Roman family, real wealthy family that live here, and then we're gonna talk about Emancipation Proclamation. Any questions? And I was like, not so far. I bought tickets for a tour. So he took us into the house, and there was this grand staircase in the entryway. And he said, well, and now Roman family, they're a real wealthy family. They have a few kids. They have one girl her name Louise, she's real pretty. A lot of suitors come around looking for Louise. She gonna marry into another wealthy family. Real good for the Roman family. Well, one day, Louise coming down the stairs, she had a stumble, her hoop skirt breaks, stab her in the leg, she get gangrene, they have to amputate, no one want to marry her anymore. She joined the convent and become a nun. Any questions? And I was like, kind of no. That's a complete story. I feel like I have a whole understanding of what happened here. So then the tour wraps up on the back balcony, and he says, well, and now this here a sugar plantation, real hard work, real hot summers in Louisiana, until one day, Abraham Lincoln, 1863, do Emancipation Proclamation. Well, one day slave owner real wealthy, because he had a lot of assets. He owned a lot of people worth a lot of money. Then Emancipation Proclamation happened. Slave owner don't have any money anymore. Emancipation Proclamation real hard for the slave owners. Any questions? And this time I did have questions. I was like, Thibodeau, am I supposed to feel bad for the slave owners? We laughed about the South, and it's warranted. But Oregon has its own problems. I don't know if you've been to a bar past the suburbs. Talking Scotts Mills, population 421. Monitor, which only has a firehouse and a dive bar. I accidentally popped into a bar like this not long ago. And the floor was remnants of a bowling alley that had closed in the 90s. There were national flags on the wall, in case you forgot where you were. Oh wait, did I say national? I meant nationalist. There were nationalist flags on the wall, in case you forgot where you were. Everyone in the bar was probably 35, but they looked 90. Just a flock of Emperor Palpatines weathered by age. The whole bar just smelled like urine and white grievance. Look, there was evidence of disease. And then I sat down at the bar, and a white man in a Confederate soldier's uniform walks up and he says, well, hey there, my name is Thibodeau. Today's special chicken gizzards and moonshine. Any questions? My name is CSz Stand. Thank you.
Sarah Quinn, ladies and gentlemen. Sarah Quinn. Sarah's husband, Chris, is here. Give Chris a round of applause. So this is the absolute truth. My husband and I just got a new puppy, a rescue, little Roxy. And I told Sarah tonight, before the show, that all little Roxy has heard from me in the last 3 weeks is, my name's Thibodeau. One more time for Sarah. By the way, one of the things I taught my classes, two important things in stand-up are voices to give texture, like my name's Thibodeau, and visuals. You had a lot of visuals. The joke I used to illustrate visuals is a joke done by as a young comic opened for me in 1985 at the Catalina Comedy Club in Avalon, California. Never heard from him since. I don't know if he had a career, never seen him since. He had one hilarious joke, and this was that joke. He had just moved to LA, right out of college, got an apartment, and he was lonely, so he got a cat. He got a kitten. And the kitten went into heat. And he said, I have a kitten in heat. I don't know what to do. So he read in a book, because there was no internet then, that when a kitten goes into heat, you're supposed to simulate sex with a Q-tip. He said, that's not the hard part. The hard part is strapping the Q-tip to your waist. That is a visual, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot get that out of your head. And it helps to fuck the kitten while you're saying, my name's Thibodeau.
Any question?
Any question? Oh God, I love these classes. PortlandComedy.com. I have 3 classes coming up next quarter. PortlandComedy.com. You ready for a station to come to our stage? I don't know what I can say about Stacia, except she's a force of nature. If you don't know that already, you're about to find out. Please welcome Stacia Nielsen, ladies and gentlemen.
That's pressure. Okay, so last time I was up here, which was also the first time I was up here, was 6 months ago. And I talked about all kinds of shit, but mostly, I talked about dicks. Being surrounded by them in my piss-sprayed penis palace of a home, raising offspring and pets, also all with dicks, and the unfortunate decline of my beloved vagina, which one could sensibly argue is also attributed to the existence of dicks. At the time, I was also cutting the number of dicks in my house by 1. I got rid of the biggest one in the bunch. But the very next morning after my show, no shit, I felt so ill that I was in the hospital for 9 days. Yeah. And I almost died there, twice. So it was Nobody laughed. So it was suggested to me that maybe all that dick talk pissed somebody off. Maybe God. I guess there are these three guys, the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. Sounds like a bunch of dudes with dicks to me. I suppose one of them took his hand off his dick long enough, or most likely off one of the other guy's dicks, for a moment to actually hear my comedy set. And he told the others, because you know, they all weren't listening hands-free, right? And paying attention at the same time. Guys, wait, guys, hold on. Pause. Holy Ghost, did you hand up your dick for a second? Did you hear this bitch? Smiter. I think it's just as plausible that there's a Dick Karma King named Steve sitting somewhere in his duck butter covered couch in his dark dick decorated den somewhere in Iowa, and he's holding a voodoo doll with stringy blonde hair and my great tits, and he's furiously poking it with his dick. Just listen. So, exactly 1 week before my show, I went on the annual trip I have with my best friends. So there's 7 of us, and we've known each other for like 30 plus years. These are like bury the body friends. They have seen you have seen them do some real stupid shit. And you stand by them, no matter what. I witnessed a few go through their vegan phase, where they didn't wear deodorant, or trim their bushes. They smelled like teenage nut sacks doused in patchouli. But come spring break, I am still drunk with them on a beach somewhere. Poofs in their bathing suit bottoms. Looks like little spiders crawling up the side. But I stand up and I say, hey, don't laugh at my friend. She's got a condition. It's called arachnopusia. The friends who knew that you fucked that really hot guitar player over Easter weekend in college when you had that raging yeast infection that among you became infamously referred to as Easter weekend. The friends who take the old jokes, those old jokes in stride, like our 4'11" friend, who we still try to sit in a booster seat every time we get in the vehicle. Get in there, girl. We're deep shit if we get pulled over. Did you see that PSA I sent you? You're lucky you're facing forward. The friends you run really important plans by before acting on them. Guys, so I was thinking about selling my kids on the black market in a dark red. I mean, they're Caucasian, they're blonde, blue-eyed, prepubescent boys. Not that bright. I hate killing. So, our annual trip was to Cabo. I'd like to think of my friends and I as like educated, relatively well-traveled, informed, but it's quite clear that only a gaggle of dipshits would book a trip to Mexico in late August. Why? Why? It's humid as fuck! Instant swass, swussy, smoothies. So my friends and I have this saying that only attention craving whores catch diseases. I don't know where this comes from. It's been a long time. It's just common sense that becomes a truth you adopt, right? Like, don't stick anything up your ass unless it has a flange. It's like a precautionary tale, you know? So to be fair, I've actually been a whore for a long time. Since I was 18. And I have never caught a communicable disease via crotch or otherwise. So the disease I caught was Legionnaire's pneumonia. Have you guys heard of it? Yeah, it is fucking crazy. It enters the lungs through vapor, right? And apparently most bodies actually kill it off, right? But not mine. This whore system was like, hey, which way you want to get in? Then my friends got it. It turns out I contracted this fucker on a boat we chartered for an afternoon. So we had a captain, Jose, and a skipper, Cesar. And they made us tart margaritas and fed us delicious sandwiches and served us guacamole from heaven. And they offered to hose us down from a fresh water source anytime we wanted. So this is the only difference in what my friends and I did on our trip. They wisely declined the hose downs. They thought Jose was a pervert. Sure, he had an intense stare and a boner tenting his pants from the moment we got on the boat, but I didn't care. I was so thankful for the margaritas. And it's probably clear that I don't like squash or Swissy. So you add seawater and seaweed to that mix? I'd rather shit in my hands and clap. So, I was like, oh, adios, mio. Gusto aquí, capitan. Ooh, get my back. Ooh, don't forget my hair. Then my face. Boom. Back in Westland. Westland? Portland? And within a few days of my comedy show, I'm in the hospital, oxygen tubes, in my nose, and drugs. Lots of drugs. Drugs really do mostly fix everything, by the way. Pass this along to our kids. So things started to really look up, though, when my pulmonologist, Dr. Bosek, came on the scene. Dr. Bosek. He's French. Yeah, he's French and he's a sizzler. He's a fox. One of my best friends was sitting next to me in the room when he entered the room, and I swear, the sexual tension was palpable. I don't really know what he said, right? But I remember us nodding a lot and saying things like, oh yeah, that is so interesting. And ooh, that sounds serious, doctor. And then he said something like, Station, we do not know why you are still alive, but we are going to keep you alive until we do. I'm fucked up. So I'm like, okay, doctor. But my girlfriend is looking so much more more serious right now. And then the doctor continues on and says that I have to get this procedure, and they can't put me under because I'll die. Yeah. And so they're going to give me this combination of Versed, fentanyl, and ketamine. And then they're going to stick cables down my throat to the bottom of my lungs, and then I'm going to probably be on a ventilator after. Ooh. Did he say down my throat? And look at my girlfriend. She was real serious. And she was slowly shaking her head and whispering, "I'm broke." So Dr. Bussack walks out of the room and she says, "Did you hear what he said, Stacia? Like, do you understand?" And I said, "Yeah. I'm gonna get some fucking good drugs!" Next thing I know, I'm in the ICU with Dr. Bozak, who's explaining to me that before he gives me the good drugs, they have to numb my throat, right? And so to do this, he is gonna hand me an oversized popsicle stick, about 8 inches long, 1.5 inches wide, covered in a numbing goo. And I'm supposed to take this and shove it to the back of my throat and jiggle it about. Doc and I are eye to eye. There's a team of professionals around. And he's like, "Stacia, I know this is really hard. But this numbing piece is integral to the success of this procedure. I know you can do it. Do you think you can do it?" Clearly has zero idea who I am. And I said, "I think so. If you help me." So, needless to say, it was a success. The horror skills that got me into this predicament also got me out. So a few days later, I'm home, and I have 25 pounds of water weight I'm carrying, and all I want to do is take a shower and shave, like something. So I was feeling a little itchy, scratchy in my undercarriage area. And I thought that it probably either needed a good cheering or that maybe after 9 days of heavy antibiotics, Easter weekend was coming back. So I get in the shower, right? Oh, it feels so good. And I lift my leg, right? Lift it up on the shower seat. I got shaving gel in one hand and I got a razor in the other. And I lower my head. And what I see hanging there is what appears to be an adult male's hairy nutsack. I screamed and ran out of the shower with my swinging ball sack in tow. I demanded that somebody tell me what the fuck was going on. So it turns out edema and steroids swell the labial walls. For 3 days, I walked around with a hairy nutsack that couldn't be contained, always rubbing against my thighs. Oh my God, I'm gonna tell you, I was as horny as all the devil laid out. For days, several times a day, to relieve the urge and swell, I had to feverishly and furiously masturbate. I couldn't take my hands off it. I was so busy. I even heard my sister-in-law, who was in town from Texas taking care of me, actually say to a few people, well, she's a little busy right now. So the swelling went down. Don't you worry, potential suitors. All good now. But I think I know why dudes are horny all the time. It's because they have balls hanging and rubbing against their thighs, constantly reminding them of sex. What a fucking nightmare. But this is what Steve, the Dick Karma King, and those other 3 guys with dicks really wanted.
Yufei, have you seen anything like that in China?
I will be wanting if I do that.
The next day, when she ran that set by us, by noon the next day, I was wandering the halls at Providence Hospital asking for a numbing popsicle. One more time for... You can imagine how much fun we've had the last 7-8 weeks, and it really is my honor and pleasure to present this show to you tonight because they've worked so hard. I want each of them to come up on stage. Yufei Gao, Yufei, come on up. Jennifer Blue! Please go ahead, ladies and gentlemen. Stuart Harrell. Please prevent. Sharon Jones. Stacey Wilson, ladies. Give a big round of applause. You guys have been a fantastic audience. PortlandComedy.com is the website if you'd like to be up here talking about, you women talking about testicles between your legs.
On the hills of Pennsylvania.
You're from Pennsylvania. This is the place. These are incredibly creative, talented people, and thank you for joining us tonight. Take care.